Happy actual comic book day, and welcome back, all you four-color funny book aficionados. This is USComics Cast, HQ for all things comic book connected. We are John and Charlie Rivera back in our respective HQs, co-founders of US Comics. Charlie, all the way miles and miles away from me. Happy Comic Book Day.
I don't like it. Happy Comic Book Day to you and to everyone listening or watching today. As always, we are brought to you by Bad Mary Band and Sergeant Finesse Gaming. If you haven't done so already, please attack that comment section like you're in the middle of watching an anthology series and some damn punk has stolen the remote control.
Charlie,
John!
I hate to tell you this, dude. You are the punk in that situation. I hate to be that guy.
How dare you? I gotta watch wrestling, man. We gotta get to the good.
Whatever's
John, how you doing, brother?
Bro. Whatever's whatever. Look, I gotta tell the truth, man. I don't know if it's like separation anxiety. If I'm like that puppy that scratches on the door, hey. It doesn't feel natural to be so far. Oh, Charlie, I feel so. I don't
like it.
I can almost touch it. All right, now it's creeping me out. So only because your hand was way bigger than my little fingies. But yeah, so I'm back on the Jersey side of the river. Just kind of like handling my business over here, dude. I have a lot of things going on. I got I'm in rehearsal for Bronx Tale. I did come into you know this, but just to share the news, I came into a little smorgasbord of vintage vinyl albums. You know that's my thing. Love me some vinyl records. And they weigh about 2 tons, give or take. A little bit of a hernia I got going on. But that hospital stay gave me a lot of time to just peruse through the vinyl. I really appreciated that. Of course, was courtesy of Mr. Justin Lambot. Good guy, friend of the show. He's been a guest with us here a few times.
He might be a cyborg, but he's a hell of a guy.
Justin, we appreciate you, my brother. We do appreciate you. He's home with his new baby. Congratulations on that. But he might have a new baby, but I got a ton of new vinyl. What's going on in your world?
Like crushing depression, mostly. Just a sea. A sea of despair.
Just the audience should feel better about their lives because, like, man, fuck it, I'm doing better than Charlie.
Yeah, like honestly, nice. at this point, like if you're depressed, it's like, yeah, duh, like that is the new normal. Is crushing, sinking, terror.
There are 6-year-olds out there watching the show, which is a completely bad choice by their parents. But to those little children, Charlie, they cannot wrap their little infant minds around how an individual who clearly has as many toys as you do can possibly be depressed also as well as... you have a retort?
I can explain it.
Charlie,
Every movie is Justice League Whedon cut.
Oof.
Like, it's a movie. There's things going on that I should like, but I don't like any of it.
Don't send these kids to the 800 hotlines. Not at this early stage in their life. Especially, as I was saying, at this stage in the game, when there's so much new out there that it slips by the always open eyes of at least this Rivera brother. Like something like kind of went through the wickets. An entire show that I'm a huge fan of just went through my 5-hole and lit the fucking light behind me. That's right, bro. I know it's going to be a surprise to most because I'm not the only idiot in the room. Fucking Black Mirror has...
hold that thought. We got... Breaking
fucking news!
Breaking news! Coming in the blue, red, and God, I hope yellow. We have officially cast our Superman and our Lois for the brand new DCU. Those of you watching live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch can see their beautiful faces. I have it right in front of me here. David Corensweth and Rachel Brosnahan are our new...
Brosnahan. Look,
you know what?
I automatically exclude me from dating this woman by just ruining her name right away. Call him Superman, Super Dude, Super whatever. Rachel Brosnahan. Please, show some respect.
The future Mrs. Rivera.
That's right.
The next in a long line of disappointed brunettes in my brother's life.
Looking for a new ex-John Rivera.
The Emmy Award winning, the Golden Globe Award winning star of The Marvelous Miss Maisel has won James Gunn's role that they were actually doing they went beyond the meet and greet. They went beyond an audition. They filmed auditions in some semblance of costumes, and she has walked away. Some of the most picture perfect casting I've ever seen. I saw a picture of her. I'm not super familiar with Marvelous Miss Maisel, but when I saw it, I went...
It is now, Charlie, you leapt right to a kind of point of contention, I'll say, for casting, because fan casting has become almost somebody else's like primary job. Doesn't pay well. However, and Ellis joining us right off the bat. Ellis, I'm already declaring her the best Lois since Margot Kidder. You know what, Ellis? I'm not gonna fight you on it, bro. I'm not gonna fight you on it.
I'm gonna allow it.
I'm familiar with her work on The Marvelous Miss Maisel, and I would say that she has very, very real possibility. It's right there, right? It's right there. She could be superior to Margot Kidder, and I liked Margot Kidder, but I'm very, very familiar with her work. This was one of those names that when I heard it, it popped so immediately for me. However, if you were doing like that mental fan cast, which like so many people do, she might not necessarily have been the first one, because like, yeah, she looks like you, if you close your eyes, like you can picture her as a Lois, but so many times the fan casting, they're just looking at aesthetics, only aesthetics. And the fact that Gunn not only put them in like dialogue driven scenarios and paired them up like any theatrical casting that's worth their salt would do, he paired them up because I want this Superman with this Lois, I want that Superman with that Lois, and so on and so forth. It's their acting chops. Like, you can make them eventually look, I mean, fucking Gamora wasn't always green, you know what I'm saying? Like,
what?
Girl, I know Nebula or whatever the hell, she's not really bald.
What? This is bullshit.
We're shattering the...
Movies are lies!
But Charlie, I was so excited. My dude over here, I'm familiar with his work as well. If anyone's out there who's like, I don't really know, he did a movie, or a miniseries rather, over on Netflix called Hollywood, which is really about kind of like old Hollywood and the more of the seedy underbelly, so to speak. But right then and there, I'm like, oh shit, that's Clark Kent.
He looks like a painting.
Clark Kent. And if you're talking about, well, he's not big like Cavill, blah blah blah. All I'm gonna say is 2 words: Will Poulter. Okay? It's amazing what steroids and a little bit of go get 'em can accomplish. But what were your first impressions, bro?
I mean, the Juilliard trained.
Yes.
I know David Corenswet from We Own the City. We Own This City. And he's terrific in that. But again, for me, much like the fan casters you were talking about, I do my best to never get my hopes up, because there's a million directions you can go. The minute, I think it was the Hollywood Reporter mentioned that this was a team, and I saw the shot that I borrowed for the kind of visual that we're using in this segment, again, live on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook, I immediately was like, oh my God, give her some purple contacts, give him some sky blue contacts, and we're in business. The visual part is there. I have so much faith in James Gunn to elevate performances, to get what he needs out of these actors. And also, when I saw them, I realized the endless opportunities of these two. They look incredibly young without looking like kids, which I love. Rachel looks like she could already be like a wily young vet of the Daily Planet, or you could play it that she's new and this like great up and comer. He looks like he fucking was cobbing corn minutes ago.
Golly gee, Miss Lane.
I am so excited. But what immediately followed, because I'm such a pessimist, I'm always living in my brother's shadow. I sometimes jokingly refer to myself as his Bizarro.
Is there a third Rivera brother that I'm not aware of? What the hell?
There was another team of actors who were right there, the silver medalists for Lois and Clark, that will never see film in those characters. We had Nick Holt, formerly Beast, from the latest X-Men series, and Emma Mackey from a great HBO series that the name currently eludes me. But when I saw them together, I didn't see Lois and Clark. But in Nick Holt, you know what I did see?
Beast?
Lex Luthor.
Oh,
He would make, I think visually, him versus fucking David would be visually so great. So then I did some research. It turns out originally he was allegedly the front runner for Lex, and then threw his hat in for the Man of Steel. The other two front runners for fucking Lex, do you know this?
No.
The fucking Skarsgård brothers.
Well, that's the current rumor now of like that's what to expect. And in effect, it's don't get too excited, Charlie, because this doesn't happen very often. But in effect, they're like 1 and 1A, so it's really they're gonna be between the two of them. You know what? And let's throw another one. And I was just talking about this with friend Jordan. For decades, Billy Zane was my absolute top choice for Lex Luthor. But I don't want to get too far ahead, Charlie. You're a little bit on rockets. The casting of these two in particular, it's not just like, okay, now we have the king and the queen on the chessboard of Superman Legacy. Charlie, these are characters that are integral to casting the DCU, which is, again, the Gunn's version of the cinematic world of DC. This is so important. These are characters, these are actors, performers that you are going to see run throughout every fucking thing else that gets put out there. I've heard rumor that, you know what, in this flick, since this is not going to be an origin story, we're going to get a little taste of the Authority in this movie even.
I read that as well.
There are
a little reverse Kingdom Come.
There are certain
up and coming Superman just being like, I don't like the way shit's done.
There are certain things that are the way that they're approaching things right now, they're just different. They're just different to what we've come to expect, which quite honestly at this stage, everybody's banding about the term superhero fatigue. What they're really saying is this particular mode of comic book hero, this is where we have fatigue, right? And we also hear a lot of like, oh, well, everybody's doing a multiverse thing. Yeah, that's because of the general fucking the general tiredness that we all have. So they say, you know what? Let's. It's like throwing a big fucking party on the last day of school, like a blowout fucking party, and saying, look, here's everything as we go into the new. So I think honestly that this is, if they're smart, that this is the type of thing that's going to lead to maybe even a Marvel renaissance, like a change in direction to what Marvel is going to do, because even then, you're going to fucking get tired after the fact. So this is Gunn's new flavor. These are probably, at least at this stage, the two most important castings that we're going to see. Fuck, I threw on my Fresh from Sergeant Finesse t-shirt, my grunt style shirt, just for the Superman news. So I am super duper excited for that news to drop. But where were you going with that, Charlie?
I was actually rounding the corner to the Authority. Ellis, let me know if the mics are a little bit more balanced now. I adjusted mine. I'm so excited to return almost to the old model, right? Because
which old model? Like you're doing a little bit of a make DC great again.
A little bit, only hopefully less toxic. For me, it's this notion of when DC, in my opinion, where they failed was rushing through the Marvel model, where they were like very impatient. They're like, here's Superman, now fucking Batman, now everybody. Like they got to it very quick.
Yeah.
And they had the opportunity, right, to just say like the world's here.
Yeah.
We're gonna fill in. And what I love about that is again a relatively young Superman, potentially butting heads with a group that doesn't do shit the Superman way. My God, you can really set up something new. It's been a long time since we've had a hero not willy-nilly killing. There's not fucking one active villain, hero rather,
or even
in
begrudgingly killing. Like you have to make a distinction at some given point. And yeah, no, Charlie, you're right. I think to your credit, and it's ironic because of the pure animosity that you have shown my poor little guy. But it looks like Gunn, to a larger degree, is adopting the Spider-Man model. We're like, nope, he's Spider-Man. He's been Spider-Manning for a little while.
Fuck out of here, Spider-Man.
He's got a bomb piece ant, but you don't want to know where that's going. Yeah, no, it's a little bit more of the Spider-Man thing, but Spider-Man is almost entirely unique in that capacity over at Marvel / Sony because he's still very much being torn back and forth. Like a child of divorce. Son of a bitch. He's got 2 Christmases, 2 Thanksgivings. What a disaster. You can't have an origin story, Alice. No.
July 11th, 2025 is around the corner. It is around the corner. Now, a lot of people scoff at that date. And admittedly, we do have a writer's strike that could slow things down and potentially more strikes that are potentially around the corner. However, Ghostbusters 4 wrapped filming. They did a lot of effects practically. That is still slated for this December. So let's live in a reality very momentarily where July 11, 2025 will see the release of Superman. We're in the opening battle of news, right? Because what's going to happen next? We're going to start hearing Batman news and who's going to be cast as Damian and who's going to be cast here. And this is going to be a loud secret because I do think they want to shake off a big problem in my opinion, a big problem from Flash was you weren't really able to put the star of that movie out into the public. I think we are going to see, we're already hearing at San Diego Comic-Con, it sounds like Marvel, DC, Sony, Disney.
Everybody's off.
Sounds like they're all out but specifically because they're going to do their own thing, which means come DC Access, which I have to imagine they're going to do again this year, we might start seeing, is he going to be in, what type of panties is Superman wearing, outside or inside?
Though, Charlie, assuming that the strikes haven't lingered, because a lot of what is done in Hollywood is for face value. So, like, they, even if things are totally ready to go and, like, in binders and fucking highlighted and stuff like that, they still do have to show solidarity with their writers and with the tech side, because now, like you mentioned before, it looks like rather than having a strike ending, we're having, it added to, which is really troublesome because then you will not see promotional stuff, because what are you going to say? Oh, in theaters at some point, we don't know when, but at theaters at some point. So I'm very, very hopeful, as I'm sure you are as well. But it's a little worrisome. I'm just going to focus on the positive because that's frankly all we have nowadays. These castings, I should say, is just fantastic. Now, the funny thing is that you had mentioned they're pairing specifically together. And my man right now, he's like a thinner guy, right? But as I had mentioned prior, Will Poulter has shown you can turn a squash into a pumpkin very easily. That shouldn't be an issue whatsoever, especially if they end up with a little more time on the back end. But my thought was like, okay, fuck. I was thinking, I couldn't help but think of your ex, right? You got to think of Cavill at least a little bit. You're like, maybe he'll get James Bond. He'll be okay. But I'm thinking he was a tall dude, but Ben Affleck was just as tall, if not maybe with those pointy ears, a little bit taller. I'm like, how tall is my guy right here? Charlie, he is 6'4". He is a
Wow.
tall dude. When he fills in, it's gonna
Well,
be
let me
on,
ask you
man.
this.
He's gonna
I
fill
don't
that
need a-
S.
I don't need a big Superman. I think you could throw Homeboy in tights right now and we're good to go. You want a meaty?
Even Chris Reeve bulked up, right? Chris
Yeah,
Reeve
but
was
that's
like,
the sort
I'm
of-
not going to wear styrofoam muscles under a tight suit. I refuse to do it. So my man, he's gonna put on some beef. It's gonna happen. Just get yourself ready. Get yourself ready. The nips are gonna pop. It's gonna get veiny as hell. It's going to happen as long as his acting chops are not affected. Because I'm very excited about the script, about the dialogue, especially about the chemistry between these two cats. I also love the fact that she is like just a hair older than him. Because she, like you said, man, she's on the young side absolutely for her profession. But she's still a younger up-and-comer, like a name to be reckoned with. Dude, that is her. Even seeing her in an interview, like on late night TV and stuff, that's her personality. This is a chick.
She got that Lois energy.
She's got her shit together. She's got the answer for you. She also has a little twinkle in her eye. She give you a little sassiness. It is perfect casting. I am all about it. And you know, ooh, if the boys in the Shield say it's so, it is so. I can not wait. Now, real quick, Charlie, give me your number one pick for Lex Luthor then. Let me say right now, I'm not happy about fucking Holt as Lex. I don't see him as a Lex. I didn't see him as a Superman either. Like people are like, oh, gee, I hope, I wish he got it. I didn't. He doesn't. He doesn't give me Superman vibe whatsoever. He'll always give me, even more than Beast vibe. He's gonna give me the fucking the gearhead guy from the most recent Tom Hardy. Mad Max.
Mad Max.
Go suck on some spray paint, man. Get out of here. You're no Superman. And I don't want him for Lex either.
Let me, just real quick before I give you my pick for Lex. I don't know if we did it on the show or if it was a private conversation, but I was talking about how, as much as I enjoyed Cavill as like a human, and I continue to be a Cavill fan.
And can grow a mustache like fucking Magnum P.I. dreamed about.
Nobody's business. I didn't love his Superman walk. And do you remember what you said specifically about Superman? Do you remember what you said? I don't want to misquote you.
No. Please go ahead and quote me, and I'll correct you if necessary. But I remember this conversation.
It was something akin to the way that Cavill was probably directed to walk. Was a man was walking into action. He was kind of walking very like chest out, like aren't I a badass? And that's not
tight butthole walk, flexing all the way. You know what the walk was, Charlie? And you referenced it the other day. It was his Mission Impossible punch about to beat the hell out of Tom Cruise walk. If you could walk with arms, that's in effect what he was doing.
And Superman, like, for lack of a better idiom, and this isn't what you said, Superman kind of walks from his heart. Like, there's nothing he's putting on.
Yeah,
when he's Superman.
He's
the
not
put
trying
on
to impress. He's not thinking about like, oh, they might be taking pictures of me. I think what I said was, to quote myself, which is one of my very favorite things. I think it was something to the tune of, Superman should walk like he's walking into a fire to go save the day, not like he's walking into a fist fight. Like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. No. He's a call to action, and he's gonna heed the call. So that is his, that's his motivation. That's where his his kind of fucking like momentum comes from.
Yeah.
Not the other way around. Not to beat up some jerk or ruin this fucking truck and shove a tree through it because he was slightly rude at a restaurant. Come on, guys. Come on. Snyder my ass.
For me, I'm having a hard time of shaking Alexander Skarsgård. I just imagine him in that pristine white suit, which I think could be worn incorrectly, and it looks like you're doing a Kingpin cosplay. But I could, even over his brother Bill, who I just imagine getting kind of not bored with it, but maybe not willing to commit to what hopefully will be a 10, 20-year journey.
The lazy eye bothers me a little bit, if I'm being totally honest. And this is
Of
another
Bill?
conversation. Yeah, another conversation that I had with friend Jordan was like we were kind of banding about Lex's, and Jordan put out there. We should have had him on. Jordan put out there. He's like, look, I feel like Lex should absolutely be a charismatic, likable character, so that especially when the tide turns and he needs to have beef with Kal-El, it becomes like, oh shit, now two people that I kind of like are throwing down. Now, granted, the motivations of one versus the other will force you to pick sides, which is only proper. But I kind of agree with that too. Like, it's a circumstance where if there was no Superman, Lex Luthor might be the most popular man on the planet. Rightfully so. People would love him. Instead, he's been forced into a corner of having to be the dick because this fucking illegal alien has crossed our border and is causing a ruckus. You know, throwing trains off of mountains and all kinds of shit. So I'm about that. So I really do think Alexander Skarsgård, between the two of them, would edge out Bill for my fucking taste. And it's not just Succession talking. I just think he could do it. He's got. He
just wears a suit so well.
What was the Viking-y movie that he did? It was outstanding, like some kind of Viking barbaric, whatever the fuck.
It was badass, what I remember, but
it was badass.
Me and titles.
A Lex Luthor badass, likable, charismatic, but like, he's got a little twinge in there, like he was fucking dealing with one of the Roy kids. I think would work beautifully.
But also just someone who's ready to go for the long run. 10, 20 years of stories, knowing that we have a Lex we can rely on, ironically enough, really gets my engine started.
Crossover titles. Like, give me a Lex in a Hawkman vehicle. Give me a Lex in a Blue Beetle situation.
Absolutely. But the bottom line is this. We're just two brothers making our way through the comic book landscape. We want to hear from you. Are you excited about this casting? Who is your ideal Lex? Ellis talking about, going away from the traditional white guy. Let's get some other energy in there potentially. We want to know very specifically who you want for Lex Luthor. Are you excited about David and Rachel and David, who I'm already absolutely in love with? But the bottom line for me is, if you're not at least a little excited, this brand new cinematic DC adventure is going to kick off proper, well then you, sir, are just like one George Toy Boy Lucas, because we all know one fact above all else, and that is...
Earmuffs, Ellis, earmuffs! Han shot first, baby. A salute.
Clinky.
Clink.
Oh, no.
You know the rule is, Charlie, if I'm not there, you have to technically take a double shot, because it's not the office's fault that I'm not there.
That's good to know. That's good to know.
I know.
I like it, but I'm incredibly rude. I cut you off before. I'm kind of cutting you off now. Roll the wheel back towards you.
Charlie, like Tina Turner, I'm just getting used to it at this point. But don't make it right, because still we have had Black Mirror upon us. Charlie, I threw you a little funky detail earlier that even surprised me, which is shocking because I'm very smart. Black Mirror has been amongst us since 2011. That is a long fucking time. It was first released December 4th, 2011.
Better times, 2011.
Indeed. So we've had installments 2013... 2014, 2016, 2017. There was that interactive How Do You Do in 2018, 2019, and then the world fell apart. So it has been a minute since we've had some Black Mirror in our lives. I might argue it was worth the wait. It was worth the wait. Now, my it's not universally held opinion, because another opinion of mine, which I don't think is in any way deniable, not quite as sci-fi as one would have imagined. I mean, truth be told, Charlie, if I came to you, and this isn't rehearsed at all, if I came to you and I said, Charlie, so this Black Mirror series, how would you describe it to maybe someone who hasn't
I
seen
think
it?
it's a sci-fi series of sci-fi-ness.
Yeah, an anthology series in a sci-fi landscape. Every once in a while, they'll like have tenuous connections between stories that were told in that anthology style. Sometimes from season to season, which is a lot of fun for continuity seekers like myself. But not so much. Not so much this time, bro. There were multiple installments, and there were only friggin' um, there were only I think six episodes that
Now,
they would
admittedly, I've
have.
only seen one very sci-fi.
Well, I'm gonna get you all caught up. I'll get you all caught up. But yeah, I was gonna say like there were certain episodes and I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, yo, this shit belonged in Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities, not on Black Mirror. I was like, are these just leftovers? They scoop them up off the floor, but again, even those that didn't feel like which one of these things is not like the other, the sci-fi one. It's actually the sci-fi one is the one that fits amongst the others the least. But yeah, I'll go out of order.
Let's do it.
What the hell? Yeah, it's our show. We can do whatever we want.
It's our hot show. We'll do what I want.
So let me. So this shirt was a gift. I don't want to get all grossed up. Thanks again, Sarge. So the
it's not grossed up. It's sexified. You can sell that shit on eBay.
Get it all
extra musk.
Oh god, and I want to take it off. So the particular episode that Charlie is referencing to, Charlie's 1 out of 6, which that's like Charlie's 1 out of 6. He's not going to the All-Star game. He might lead the league in RBIs for a shortstop, but we got to get that average up. Fucking
John, I got to tell you, if my life was 1 for 6, I'd be a much better off Charlie.
You'd also be at the game every night, like, hey, what's up? So in any case, the episode that Charlie's referencing is I actually insisted that he sit down and watch with me as I rewatched it immediately after watching it once. Episode 4. Episode is called Maisie Day. And this was also not a sci-fi episode. Matter of fact, it felt like it fucking for sure was like a throwback episode. This was happening. This felt a little bit more like Stranger Things, right?
I guess it was more horror
90s,
than
but
science fiction.
There was nothing really science fiction about it. Nothing at all. I don't know how far you want to
go.
Well,
it's fictional.
Spoilers.
I don't think it's real.
I mean, yeah.
Fuck them if they didn't see it.
But you know what though?
One piece of shit hasn't watched every episode of the new season of Black Mirror. That's a premiere television. That year after, I didn't watch it. I didn't have time. I was busy. There's been a lot of good movies out.
Again, no one can really, considering the summer that we've had and the popcorn that we've ingested, no one can blame you. But so yeah, Maisie Day was like it was set. I would say someplace in the 90s, maybe late 90s, very early 2000s.
Which you and I had a wonderful conversation about, like, the inner workings of, like, there have been times where you have accused me.
Details.
You have accused me many a time in our brotherly relationship, which is like my whole life if you're keeping track. I know some people think you're younger because they fucking hate me. But you and I have discussed, like, my weird pretension on how I watch some things.
Yeah,
you and I went full pretension on this. You're like, that's a Canon 4312 that came out in '98. What are they trying to say with that extra wide lens?
Charlie, what am I gonna go in there and be like, Dad, this is good, generally speaking, and get smacked in the mush by my baby brother?
When you're at the Fortress of Charlitude, you must get real deep with it,
Charlie's
ladies.
Like, look, you talk nerd or you don't talk at all, motherfucker. So episode 4. Maisie Day. It was far more, again, to my thinking, not sci-fi at all. Again, it was more horror, easily. And the shot I was trying to take at you, Charlie, was Little Women is fiction, but it's not science fiction. So, like, just the fact that something's, like, not true doesn't make it sci-fi. There was no sci-fi about it. And then for anyone who hasn't watched, really, it speaks more about kind of like the human condition. It speaks to the paparazzi effect that's going on out there. As I said before, this is like late 90s, early 2000s maybe. You know, they killed Princess Diana. Now her kid and his new wife are running around acting like jerks. Look at the spillover nasty effects that happen. But it was really more about like the lack of like cultural appropriateness, and these are people too. Sometimes, unless they hit some shit in the road, and that situation has changed. But yeah, that episode for me at least caught me totally off guard, and not so much because of its lack of sci-fi, because at that point I had already watched 3 episodes preceding that. We're gonna protect your little virginal ears and eyes, Ellis. Don't worry, man. No spoilers here. But the 3 episodes before that prepped me. I was like, okay, don't expect robots. Don't expect fucking alien invasions. Don't expect the typical Black Mirror fare. So I'm going to rewind it back. Episode 1, to speak to my point, Joan is awful. Now, the thing that I found most interesting...
What a great title.
Joan is awful. I've known some awful Joans, so this was clearly not plucked out of nothingness. I'll just give you the episode description because it's what Netflix would do.
And sometimes Netflix is real cheeky with it. There might be some clues.
Ooh, my joke.
Should I guess each one?
You could try. An average woman is stunned to discover a global streaming platform, sounds familiar already, has launched the prestige TV drama adaptation of her life, in which she is portrayed by Hollywood A-lister Salma Hayek. Excellent description. To give you the layman version of that, and I apologize if I forget her name. I was just checking out her Insta while I was on the pooper.
I bet you were.
The daughter from Schitt's Creek.
Awesome.
She's the woman in question. She wears a very distinctive hairstyle, which is like almost impossible to confuse with somebody else. So she's like la la la, living her life, doing some good things, doing some bad things, but like a very reasonably good and bad. Not like she's not Hitler. So she she goes through her day, turns on her streaming platform, which is not Netflix. It's something that's called Streamberry. Netflix does an awesome job of taking little shots at themselves in this series, which I particularly liked. So she turns on her TV, pots on some Streamberry, and she fucking sees Salma Hayek wearing her exact hairstyle. And in effect, going through a filmed version. Like, imagine if The Office, you popped on The Office, Charlie, and one day, fucking Michael is in there. He's like, these fucking people I work with, I'm just trying to train these guys and blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, you're like, wait, what the fuck? What's going on? Why is there a new character bitching and moaning named Charlie Rivera working at The Office? That's in effect what it is. And as you can imagine, they even tweak it. You know how sometimes you watch a movie or a series that like based on a true story, and then they'll even say some scenes may have been modified for dramatic purpose. They'll do that, Charlie, to your life. So you're like, oh yeah,
I like it.
I had to rush Jameson because I needed to run out the door. And in that, when that scene rolls around for your show now, which you don't get any money for, by the way, and you have not, to your knowledge, given any authorization to use your life as subject matter, instead of like gently pushing him back away from the door so you can get out for the day, they have you kick him in the mush. And people are like, yo, you face-kicking, puppy-hating son of a bitch. So in effect, that's what they do to this poor woman. And all
I don't like that.
Yeah, me either. I didn't like saying it. All of the fallout that comes from it. Now, again, spoilers are protected here, at least in this case. So the fallout was significant, and Salma Hayek gets involved as Salma Hayek, which is great. I really enjoyed the episode. Second episode is called Lock Henry. This shit, if aforementioned Guillermo didn't see this and think, I missed this one, what happened here? Then I hope he never watches the series, because that is what he'll say in that exact accent.
Now Guillermo del Toro is my picks for Lex Luthor.
There you go. Not bad. Not bad. Lock Henry.
Listen here, Superman.
Mira, Superman, okay? You cannot do that right here, okay? So a young couple travel to a sleepy Scottish town to start work on a genteel nature documentary. But they find themselves drawn to a juicy local story involving shocking events in the past. I'm going to do a little bit better than that. There was a fucking sexual deviant mass murderer in that town.
Oh shit.
So literally now Netflix, again, this is really the Black Mirror that's in reference to the title is in effect, to me, Netflix holding up a mirror and seeing their own fucked up black reflection. Because Charlie, do you know how many murder documentaries, basically how to do it, there are on Netflix right now? Like 95% of women, single women, put themselves to bed watching Netflix. Murder documentaries. It does not bode well for new relationships. That's all I'm going to say. Take the trash out, boys. You do not want to suffer the ramifications. What else? So that was Dynamite. Also another ending. Did not fucking see coming. I know I'm up against the time. It's episode 3, Beyond the Sea. Now this was...
I bet the sea's involved.
You know what?
Nailed
You
it.
would think so, but you're wrong. So this was probably the one episode that you could properly define as sci-fi because, and much to my chagrin, starring Jesse Pinkman, in an alternate 1969, two men
funny number
on a perilous... I know, 19 is hilarious. Two men on a perilous high-tech mission wrestle with the consequences of an unimaginable tragedy. So, Charlie, this one's tough to really describe in a general sense. So I'm just gonna tell you straight up what happens without ruining the ending. These are astronauts, right? They're astronauts. Again, this is a throwback period of time. This is 1969. Tee-hee. But
funny number.
It's not our 1969. So their technology, while at one time, on one hand, is very much the 1969 strategy, technology, tee-hee-hee-hee, but it's also more advanced. So these cats, there's two. Josh Hartnett is the other astronaut.
Hey, I know him.
They are also once potential Superman. They're up in this space station, very far away from home, but there's like a link where their consciousness at night, when they power down, basically the human beings that they are up in the station, they can send their awareness over to a replicant, which is at home with their families, like a robot cyborgy type of body that's sitting there. Then in effect gets up and walks around and talks to their significant others and their family members and stuff. And like,
that's awesome.
It's almost like they're not there. It's like they're not gone. However, that, if anyone who studies history knows, that was a pretty fucked up period of time. There were a lot of weird, like group mentality stuff. Like that's when Manson was doing his thing, and something happens that to me made me very much think of the Manson family running around acting like assholes. And tragedy strikes. That's
I don't think anyone's ever defined it that way.
I
mean, they were acting
court,
like real assholes.
I think the prosecuting attorney, that was the term that there's 4 counts of acting like real assholes. But tragedy strikes, and the aftermath becomes very, very interesting. Again, spoiler free. Maisie Day we talked about already. Episode 5, probably my favorite of the series.
Oh, real quick, did Jesse Pinkman ruin his episode?
You know what, Charlie? Jesse
I'm
Pinkman
not a fan.
Only knows how to ruin things. I do not like the guy. And I'll be honest with you, for what he did to Westworld, I was shocked that they even remotely let him near a sci-fi looking set. But they let him near 2 of them, you son of a Jesse Pinkman fucking son of a bitch. In any case, episode 5 rather. Demon 79.
Ooh.
Fucking dynamite. In Northern England, 1979, a meek sales assistant is told she must commit terrible acts to prevent disaster. And I'm going to do a better job than them here again. Charlie, she's straight up told she has to kill 3 people in 3 days or the world will end. She didn't ask for this. She really didn't do anything to justify having the weight of that put on her little, tiny, meek Indian shoulders, but it ended up there. And they have so much fun with it because it literally was a demon that showed up. It's like, hey, I'm not a bad guy. Look, take it easy. This is just what it has to be. I don't want it either. And he really made that point. He's like, look, if the apocalypse happens, it's bad for me too. Like, imagine X, Y, and Z. That all sucks. I'm rooting for you. I do not want Armageddon to happen. And in effect, he helps her. But he's like, I know looking at this demon form isn't good. What would you rather that I look like? So she had been kind of secretly pining for this rock star. And all of a sudden, he looks like this rock star to her. And nobody else can see him at all. Charlie, they have as much fun with the end of the world as you can possibly have without including fucking James Franco and, and all those guys. It was also great. And you really see her kind of come out of a shell as she's murdering people, which I get that can happen. That can certainly happen. But yeah, look, Charlie, I gave you the description of every episode at this point.
Sounds
Literally,
awesome.
One of them, though, is sci-fi. One of them is
sci-fi. You know what, though? I appreciate... My favorite thing about Black Mirror is they kind of, like, we'll do what we want. Like, as much shit as Netflix gets, they do have this awesome element of some shit they just let be what it wants to be. And I feel like Black Mirror right now is such... If Netflix was smart, Black Mirror is a thing they always keep on the books. And whenever new Black Mirror shit is available, put it out there. Like, until the wheels fall off. Because the beautiful thing about... and I love narrative stories, but you and I always talk about the kind of completeness, right? We talk about the best stories in fiction for us. I'll only speak for me. For me, it has a very clear beginning, middle, and end. That could be 3 movies, it could be 20 movies, but I love when something has that. With an anthology series, minus the little connections that you see here and there with Black Mirror. Maybe. One of the most amazing things about it is, for 30 to 90 minutes, they get to just kind of make whatever story they want under this Black Mirror label, which I think almost taking away even the sci-fi stamp frees them to, like, no, just tell me weird fucking stories. Because the one thing that does sound consistent with Black Mirror so far is like, but something's fucked up.
Well, for sure.
Like, we're in space, we got robots, but something's fucked up.
And you know what was like
that?
Twilight Zone was very much like that. You're waiting for the M. Night Shyamalan moment,
right?
But in this case, and it's very interesting because the truth of the matter is that we think we know it all already.
I do. So many people
so many people. You don't even know that you don't know everything, because that would be something. So many times, if something doesn't, we're all amateur sleuths. We're like, oh, I got this figured out. Watch, this is what's going to happen. Because it really is enjoyable, kind of like bandying, opinions and like projections and, predictions and projections. Like, we're just here and we think we got to figure it out. And that satisfaction, when it's taken away from us, what's the most common reaction? Not, oh shit, I didn't see that coming. Let me get Charlie in here to watch this because this one caught me off guard. No, this is, most people are garbage. They're like, they didn't do what I thought they were gonna do. This sucks.
You leave Ellis alone.
I didn't. This was a waste of time. Blah blah blah. Oh, I was just talking to Mom about it. It's not the destination, kid. It is the journey. It's people who cannot see the forest for the trees. Sopranos wasn't a bad show because you didn't like the last 30 seconds. Sopranos is an all-time great show that you didn't like the last 30 seconds of. But here's me telling you, you're dumb if you didn't, because ultimately it didn't make a difference what happened to Tony. But that's another conversation altogether. Charlie, Black Mirror is called Black Mirror. It's not called Black Mirror, the Sci-Fi Hour. Nobody ever sat me down and promised me this is a great sci-fi anthology series forever. Things evolve. Things improve. Things sometimes take a left where they would take a right. I don't know why the fuck I was so it probably took me to the middle of the third episode to be like, all right, it's okay if it's not sci-fi. You know, they never said it was going to be sci-fi. That was my own stupid expectations, kind of like, to a degree, preventing me from really enjoying something for what it was, man. I thoroughly enjoyed the season. Was it a little bit of a WTF because of the lack of sci-fi? Yes, absolutely. If you look at the earlier seasons, sci-fi, 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 little bit of spooky, sci-fi, sci-fi. So yeah, they've established a track record, but track records are made to be broken, Charlie, and that's what this episode did. I freaking really, really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to you finishing the season, and we can privately talk about it. But like, for sure, expectations are only good for one thing: wiping your ass with, and toilet paper is even better than that. So maybe save it for another day.
I will say it's very fun to predict the twist, though. I'm not saying like we both did it, but I certainly kind of knew it was coming.
I mean,
I also, fun fact, I rattled out like 30 twists.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, is it this? Is it this? Is it this? And like at around 24, I'm like, fuck, he guessed it. Oh no, He guessed it.
You know what else I can guess? How we're going to keep the fucking lights on in the show. Because we are a free show that comes to you every Wednesday. Both the audio format and the live video format that's available on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitch. All of it can be found at USComics HQ. But luckily for you people, you don't have to hear about some shitty mobile game that you don't want to play that's just going to rob you of tens of thousands of dollars. Because today, we are once again brought to you by one of our absolute favorite bands, Bad Mary. You heard them during the intro. You're going to hear them again at the end of the show. If you're wondering where else you can catch their act, you can follow them at Bad Mary Band across all social media platforms. You can support them over on patreon.com/badmaryband. You can stay up to date at badmary.com for merch and upcoming performances. But my favorite part, John, is that their entire discography is available across all music streaming services.
Damn straight, but that does beg the question, Charlie. Where we dropping with Sergeant Finesse? You can find him currently still hanging on with fucking fingernails, just clinging so tight to that Facebook gaming partnership. Again, he's still spending a lot of his time on Facebook, but he's spending more and more time over on Kick.com. Either way, it is at Sergeant Finesse. Multiple streams every day, outstanding video game content, supporter games, co-streams, giveaways, like this fresh to death grunt style Superman patriotic shirt. Thank you yet again, Sergeant Finesse, for this gift. Well earned, might I say. Because when the Sergeant's on deck, Charlie, you gotta salute. We also gotta throw it back to a perennial supporter, Joker Stream. Joker is also splitting his time. You can find him at Jokers_stream_ on Twitch, but also as well as on Kick.com. I have a real good feeling Kick is going to be seeing a lot of kind of like a lot of pilgrims making the jump over there. And it's worth mentioning, we mentioned them last week, we're going to do it again, because we love stealing from these motherfuckers.
That's true. It's our favorite Batman animated series podcast. Mm-hmm. It's, of course, the Batman-tasticast, starring the awesomely talented and knowledgeable superfans and friends of the show. Joining you, Mike Staub. He might be in Bad Mary, too. Do yourselves a favor, check them out everywhere podcasts are available. That's Batman-tasticast for more nerdy goodness. But John, can you do me a favor?
Yeah, Charlie.
Can you hit that elevator button for me?
Oh.
Welcome to another edition of Pitch Me. John is representing, in this case, the beautiful Sony and Marvel Studios. I have hopped on an elevator with him, and I got about 15 minutes or less to pitch him my movie. John! Hey, man, I got a pitch for you that I think you might be interested in.
Now, make it quick, kid. I'm headed up to the penthouse offices.
Let's do it to it. I got something I know you're interested in because you keep making his villains have movies. Let's talk Spider-Man Part 4. That's right. I am going to bring us Spider-Man goodness so great that even I want to see it. John, this flick opens up... Wait,
That's Mr. Rivera, you punk.
Sorry, Mr. Rivera. My apologies. I'm just so damn excited because unlike the Spider-Man movies that preceded, we're getting away from those home titles and we're jumping right into the action. Our movie opens up. We got the Marvel and Sony scrolls. We see a very quick interaction of what happened before it. Tony's dead. He's in an all-new Spider-Man suit, and we see flying through the air that beautiful red and blue of the brand new Spidey suit. We got a taste of at the end of the last flick. We got Scorpion rocking a full mech Iron Man-esque suit with the tail and all. We got a big gargantuan 7'2", 485-pound Rhino, part mech, part juicy. And we, of course, have the new Electro rocking crazy gauntlets. He has a silly mask. We're going heavy, heavy comic book. They have broken on to a Saber ship. That's right. Nick Fury might be fighting the Skrulls, but here the fuck we are. They are trying to steal more space-based technology. Remember, when these characters were introduced to us, the Electro and the Scorpion specifically, they had all sorts of gadgets from fucking space. So why not go to Saber to do the same? They're breaking in. We see a little bit of web, a perfect little web, hit one of the sides of the building. Then we see a camera get thrown onto it, and we see the little flash start to go off. That's right, our Peter Parker is absolutely taking some photos of the action. He drops down into our most badass Spider-Man fight scene yet. This is the shit we're going to steal from for the trailers. John, he is whooping ass. Rhino runs at him, going to all fours. He grabs him by the horn, flips him overhead, fucking pro wrestling style. This is not a punk bitch version of Tom Holland. He saw Zendaya get all sorts of done up in that hotel room in her trailer, so he is fucking pissed. That same sort of intensity that we got from the very last scene when Tom Holland almost killed the Green Goblin. John, this is a Peter Parker who has some fucking anger issues. He is whooping ass. He is doing fucking drop kicks to Scorpion. He's throwing fucking Shocker. They're shooting at him. He keeps shooting out webs and throwing out additional small cameras. He is doing something with these goddamn photos, John. As he's fighting, we see what they're trying to steal. There's all sorts of sci-fi looking jars and bullshit. They are trying to get to a very specific labeled jar, and it looks like something metallic-y and black is in there. Wink, 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 wink. Suddenly, we see another figure in the background. As Scorpion's about to destroy that canister, we see someone flip over it, all in black, flip over it and grab the jar for him or herself. Suddenly, a spiderweb comes, grabs that jar, pulls it away. It shatters against the wall. It is the Black fucking Cat, looking more delicious than any superheroine that has preceded them. She looks amazing, but no, John, she is not going to fight Spider-Man. She is fighting with Spider-Man. She's just trying to get what is on that fucking jar that has now been shattered over. Now, John, really interesting. Our camera's going to pan over. We're going to see a close-up on that jar. It's not black goop from space. It almost is like little octagons that are kind of interacting. Isn't that bullshit nanite stuff that Marvel loves so much that I hate? I don't know. Suddenly, Scorpion's fucking big scorpion tail rips across the chest of our Spider-Man. Spider-Man's bleeding, bro. Right out the gate, we have ruined this fucking brand new suit. The fight continues, and it ends with Spider-Man fucking taking down these three bad guys as Black Cat is now at the entrance that they all broken from, holding a different jar with a different type of goop in it. She blows him a kiss, she fucks off. He looks down at his bullshit costume, and it's tattered. He drops a Spider-Man line. He's like, oh boy, what am I going to do now? I'm fucking Spider-Man. And he puts his hand down.
Charlie hates me.
He puts his hand down on that black goop, and those octagons, clap, 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 they fill in all the broken parts of his suit. It's still red and blue, but now that's a little shinier than it was even before. We jump to the next day. We're at the Daily Bugle. Once simply an online web show has now grown to a fucking gigantic online community. Multiple shows. J. Jonah Jameson still at the top. They have this big crazy office. Who walks in? Peter. And Peter is not fucking hated. He is not booed out of the building. J. Jonah Jameson grabs him over the shoulder. My boy, Petey, scuffs his little hair. J. Jonah Jameson loves Peter Parker. Everyone in the office loves Peter Parker, even though he's kind of a moody little bitch. His best friend, his new best friend in this brand new life of going to college at the day, working for the Daily Bugle at night, His best friend Eddie Brock once again tries to bring him out to a college house party, but he is not feeling it. This Spider-Man has become a complete fucking all about me. The reason all those cameras are there, he's selling the website all these amazing Spider-Man photos, and they are fucking amazing. Everyone loves him for it. He's well respected. He goes to classes. He's always getting asked out. Everyone loves him, but he's a little emo Spidey bitch. He's visiting Aunt May day after day, telling her about his day, telling her about who's watching, who's not.
At
while
the
he's
cemetery,
trying...
or is your version
at the cemetery?
Okay.
No, this part 4
He's
at the cemetery.
Pulling a Rocky.
He sees out of the corner of his eye he's being watched. Regular Peter Parker is being watched, and it's by none other than the black fucking cat has been tailing him for probably weeks, following his adventures and stealing shit, because that's what she does. He turns and we get the first reveal. Clink, 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 clink. All those little quads assemble into his classic Spider-Man suit, and he chases after her. The whole suit. But it's the blue and reds. And it's nanites, obviously, right? Wink, 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 wink. They fight. He chases her. We have an amazing chase sequence. She is his equal in every single fucking way. It is awesome. And the sexual tension, John. Ooh, you are going to want to see Spidey bone this black cat. They get into it. It turns out that Saber has been coming back and forth to Earth, and the villains are using this technology to go fucking classic. We're going to get a Vulture in this movie. We're going to get more of the fucking Rhino, more of the Scorpion, and the suits just getting better and better. This is basically a reverse heist movie. A Black Cat wants this shit to make money, wants it out of the bad guy's hands. Peter Parker is just trying to get it to the Authority and make some money. Is he falling in love with Black Cat? Of course she is. Look at her, John. All the while, we're learning about what his new life as Peter Parker is at college. How does the film wrap up? It wraps up, of course, the way you expect. We get towards that third act, and what's revealed? He's back. He's Spider-Man, but he's back in black to match the Black Cat, because they're doing this stealthy bullshit as they beat the big bad of the film, which in this case is Scorpion. Who's funding him? We're going to learn about that in our post-credit sequence. Don't you worry. We'll double back to that. Basically, we have the fucking sexiest superhero rom-com adventure you could ever fucking expect. We learn about Felicia's backstory. Her dad's in fucking prison. She was assaulted once, so she signed up for all these experiments. That's why she's such a fucking badass. Again, Scorpion's out of jail. He fucking wants Pete dead, but there's no way to get him except to his new friends. So if Peter Parker's life at work and school was as good as a loner could get, well, tough shit, because Scorpion's barreling through the Daily Bugle. We get all the goodness of J. Jonah Jameson blaming fucking Spider-Man, being super into Black Cat in a way, inappropriate way, because she's like a young 20-something, but J. Jonah's gonna J. Jonah. The film fucking ends with a triumphant black-suited Spider-Man selling so many fucking toys with his new girl at his arm. It ends similar to the way the last one did. He's swinging through the city, following her. They're kind of this new dynamic duo of New York, and he finally feels like himself again. But this is a Spider-Man who we've seen be violent throughout this whole fucking film. This is the coolest Spider-Man we've ever fucking met. That'll bring us to our 2 sequels that I'm not going to pitch, but I'm going to give you just the broad strokes. The entirety of this trilogy has Spider-Man in the black suit. We don't get to Venom till the 3rd movie. The big thing in that 2nd movie is he gets so brutal. At one point, Felicia tries to stop him. Black Cat tries to stop him, and he turns, and he basically goes to fucking Reed Richards style backhand this bitch. And luckily, she like moves out of the way, and she's like, "Are you out of your fucking mind?" So all the tension of that 2nd movie is Peter's a fucking recluse. He is losing his goddamn mind, because by now the Fantastic Four movie will exist. He's gonna go see Reed Richards, find out it's not nanotech, it's a fucking alien. Is this the black monster that other Peter was talking about in Far From Home? You bet your dick it is, bro. We're gonna get to Venom in the 3rd movie, I promise. Eddie Brock and Peter have a falling out because he's a fucking psychopath. John, people are going to be creaming their jeans at this bullshit. We get to the 3rd movie, and we are not going to get that big bell tower bullshit. He's lost Felicia. He's lost his only person that gave a fuck about him at work in Eddie Brock, who's now a jealous fucking asshole about him. Hates Peter now. We kind of get that classic
Are
Pete
we
versus
still
Eddie.
using Tom Hardy?
No, fuck Tom Hardy. It's a whole new thing.
How dare you?
We're gonna get someone. We're gonna get someone you like even more. Also, we're not doing any of that inner monologue bullshit. Peter isn't. The question is Peter being influenced? We learned in the third movie, he decides to hang up the black because he doesn't like that this thing is influencing him. Right? Wrong. We get to the middle of that movie, he's just as violent. Peter has underlying issues that he is fucking trying desperately to get through. That's what we're exploring in the third movie. Ultimately, this is still a character fucking study. It's going to make people who love Peter for what he is see him as a fucking potential badass because he is so fucking powerful in the MCU, and we've only ever seen a glimmer of it. We're going to see him get to that line. We're going to see him almost cross it, but then he's going to remember. Finally, we're going to get a flashback scene where all is lost, when he's not even going to be fucking Spider-Man anymore. We're going to get a scene that we think is a ghost visiting him. We're going to finally see an interaction between Uncle Ben and Peter. But it's from when Peter was 12 years old and he stole from a local deli. We're going to get a beautiful, this beautiful tale of am I a bad person? Uncle Ben, do you hate me? I can never hate you, Pete. It's not the past is depression. The future is anxiety. It's now. Be a good person now. Save one person now. All that moral, beautiful bullshit that we love or other people love Peter for, we're going to get in this wonderful flashback. So in the third act of the movie, Eddie Brock gets the fucking symbiote. We finally get a bulking, giant white logo on his chest. He has webs because he still remembers. Now the symbiote's fucking talking because he's not going to let a human run the show again. Now the fucking symbiote's in charge. We're getting a badass Venom. We're getting a big third act fight. Felicia's getting attacked by Venom, who shows back up once again in that classic blue and red shiny ass suit we saw in the first movie of this trilogy. We're going to see it at the end. Spider-Man's back, and he's that Spider-Man we love. He's talking bullshit to Venom. He's webbing him up. We can do the fucking Sonic Disruptor bullshit. Simple editing. Leave Eddie in the fucking streets. He's trying to recover his life. The end of the movie, Spider-Man's never better. Felicia has basically forgiven him. That's when we're reintroduced to Mary Jane, who now they're 3 years into college. She goes to a different school. He sees her. It's Mary Jane as we know her from the comics. She's found her confidence. She dyed her hair because she wanted a new look. Will Peter finally get a happy ending? That's for a potential new trilogy or a potential reboot to explore. We finally leave Peter the way I always wanted him. The triumphant hero, the young kid just trying to save one person at a fucking time. Working at the Daily Bugle, but now everyone's kind of sus because Eddie hates him. And we close our 3-picture deal with the most awesome fucking Spider-Man you've ever seen. A Spider-Man who likes to get laid, a Spider-Man who likes to get paid, and a Spider-Man who learned some fucking lessons. I think we got floors left, and I'm done with my pitch, but give me money, Sony.
Let me ask you a question, because I filled out the check, but I have yet to sign it. Who are you casting as Black Cat?
Black Cat is Anya Taylor-Joy is my number one pick if she looks appropriate next to Tom Holland. I've never seen the two together, and she looks like a young lady. And I want the visage of early 20s. So as long as she's willing to kind of fill in that suit just right, she's my first pick.
All right,
and she signed on development deal with Rivera Entertainment.
Who says no to Charlie's mug? All right, and then are you carrying over, assuming health is on his side, are you carrying over Jamie Foxx's Electro?
Well, no, because he's back in his own universe. So we were left off in one of the last Spider-Man films with the gauntlets were handed to a new guy. So he's going to be the new. He's going to be the new. Shocker.
Is he a new Shocker or a new Electro?
We've already. I'm sorry. I meant Shocker the whole time. So we're getting that same guy as Shocker. We're not getting. I apologize. It's Rhino, Scorpion, and Shocker are the gang that kind of show up through this whole trilogy. Each time getting a little bit more overpowered until Spider-Man finally gets them all locked up.
And that's why Vulture is going to be kind of like King Dingaling. And
correct.
You're using Batman.
Batman's back as Vulture in a new version of the suit. And he, again, doesn't know who Peter is, but he fucking hates Spider-Man.
All right, Charlie, I'm just going to go ahead and... Sold! Well done. Solid pitch.
I can't believe I got through all 3 movies. I feel like I sped. Oh, there it is.
Definitely 100%.
I got my check.
You know what though? You got paid. You want to take that to the bank? Certainly right away. Definitely cash it before Friday because that's when the whole fucking news slate comes in and all these script writers gotta get paid. Woohoo! That's solid, man. That's a solid trilogy. I particularly like Black Cat, kind of being like a new focus and one of those left up on the shelf far too long for Peter Parker characters because she's very much not, as opposed to the juxtaposition between Mary Jane and fucking Stacy Gwen. Black Cat, fucking Felicia What's-Her-Face, is her own character with or without Spider-Man. Now, what's interesting is, if you recall, she has a little bit of the, how would you fucking, the domino effect, right?
Yeah.
Like, people around her, not so much as she has great luck like Domino.
They're unlucky around her.
They have bad luck. So I would like to see you work into your script at some point. Like maybe even those moments where he's like about to fucking Ike Turner her, like he gets his hand caught on a fucking hook in the house, and like he gets his comeuppance without her having to be a bad guy or a heavy, and he like, oh, what the fuck am I doing right now? Like I would like to see that kind of like bad luck effect go into effect without her like go gadget bad luck, because that's a little corny and hard to translate. So work that into the script.
There's a few things that I want people specifically arguing about online about the movie. In the first couple of movies is the symbiote making Peter a dick? And it never does. It never makes him a dick. It turns up the volume, but this version of Peter has anger issues in my interpretation of what's preceded it.
My way of thinking about the symbiote is always like the symbiote isn't making the person an asshole. If the person's a dick, the symbiote is fucking, is ED medicine. Like, it will make you a huge, veiny, hard dick, but you were already a dick already, bro. Don't fucking blame the Cialis for your issues. So
I want consistently in the movie, I consistently want in the movie people being able to be like, is that from her power? Or is that from happenstance? I'm never going to fully answer it. And what's
from her power?
Like when people have bad luck around her. Is that she's a badass or they just fumble?
It should be one of the things that are never really addressed. It just is. It's like
the other
same
thing
way that it always seems to rain at funerals. Like, motherfucker, I've been to a lot of funerals. It does not always rain. Some days it's the nicest day ever.
The other big thing I want running through the series is when Peter's kind of going too extreme, it's because he's trying to basically be Black Cat. So I'm not doing that thing where, like, she's just like Spider-Man, but better. She's a different brand of character that I think we can absolutely spin off into their own series. What I love about it is their relationship is going to be very real, but also as well as it's a relationship between Black Cat and Spider-Man. She's not interested in Peter Parker because he's kind of a douchebag, but also
that's
as well as
his life.
I really love the idea of this college-aged kid trying to emulate what he wants to be, and it's something that doesn't fit. So when we finally get that triumphant return, I want to end this series with a Spider-Man that maybe for the next series you can have him be a mentor. I want him to finally find himself instead of following around bearded men trying to like follow their lead. This is going to be finally that man Peter Parker that I think his age lines up with.
Can be Peter's beard and really kind of show him the right way to handle his ass.
Exactly right.
I dig it. Absolutely sold. I would like to see your full casting. Not so much to justify the check, but so I can run it by my folks upstairs. I'm looking forward to it. I wouldn't mind seeing these things produced back to back to back, so we have a little more control over the release schedule. The voice of the people is never wrong. We want to give them what they want, whether they need a little time to digest or they just want to ingest it whole. They can definitely pull a Bruce the Shark on it if they want. Dynamite pitch, Charlie. Absolutely sold all the way. Look, at the end of the day, man, the truth of the matter is that with all these fucking writers on strike, the Hollyweird uppity ups, yuckity yucks, they need a little hope, and they absolutely need to hear from the people who are ingesting their fare. So you are welcome. We're more than happy to tidy that up as long as you get those writers taken care of. We're not crossing any picket lines. We are no suckers. But Charlie, just do us a favor, man. We're at that time already. Tomorrow's going to be a big day, an early day. Hopefully we get a lot of shit done. That's been taking a long time. So Charlie, please, please, please tell all the nerds and geeks and comic book freaks how we wrap up each and every episode of US Comics Cast.
Well, it's very simple. First, you got to turn the power on. Then you got to turn the volume up. Then you got to tune Bad Marion. Open up the window wide and scream out into the night sky. Save the space girl!